Today I'm going to do a day in the life of a bookkeeper. So it's been a while since I've done this, and my last video you guys seem to really enjoy, so I thought I'd do an updated version. My name is Morgan from FinePoints.biz, and I love to help you guys get organized and talk to you all about bookkeeping. So thumbs up is a huge compliment. It helps me out a ton, as well as if you hit that subscribe button, you can get a video from me every week about bookkeeping. So I just turned on the camera to film a couple YouTube videos, but I thought I'd let you know what I was up to this morning. So I was working on QuickBooks Online all morning right here on my laptop, and I was doing the yearly bookkeeping for one of my really small clients. So she doesn't hire me every year to do her books, but she did want me to do them this year and last year. So it's a fairly typical setup. She just has one bank account and one credit card. And so I just had everything feeding in. It was actually feeding in all year because I had it set up in the past. So I was just categorizing all of those expenses on both her bank account and her credit card. And I did a little work in the chart of accounts too, so I wanted to make it more clear. She's a florist, so she buys flowers. So I kind of wanted to split out the flowers and that cost of goods from the vases and clippers and all of her tools. So I made that a little bit more clear in the chart of accounts, as well as one of the stock chart of account categories they give you is called office supplies and software. And I just don't prefer that. I prefer to split out the software from the office supplies because I think of office supplies as like pencils and pens, and then software just seems so different to me. That's totally personal preference. After I categorized all of her transactions, I pulled up the profit and loss by year. And then because it is a pretty small business, I just clicked into each of the categories to make sure that everything made sense and there wasn't anything that was in the wrong category. My next step is going to be to reconcile the bank account each month. So I think I'll probably just do it at the beginning of the year and the end of the year, and then put in those totals for reconciling, and then I don't know. And then I am planning to meet with her next week and just help her get the app set up on her phone so that she's able to categorize this herself, because the business is small enough that she's totally able to do that as a business owner. And then I'm going to show her how to use the online receipt capture as well, because I think that'll be cool. She's very technologically savvy. I think she'll be interested to do that kind of thing. So what I'm going to be working on tomorrow is kind of a to-do list. So I'm going to show you guys my to-do list and then show you how a different client kind of has their business set up and the tasks I do for them. And as in my previous day in the life, I'm going to make this into a couple different days because the way that I do my work isn't just like a whole day I'm working. So I fit in my work here and there as my kids' schedules allow. I do try to work on every Thursday from like 9 to 2:30 is a big chunk of time I work. And then I was trying to do the similar thing on Friday, and I had a little bit of a childcare hiccup on Fridays. So I'm trying to work through that at the moment, but that's usually I work about like 10 hours a week. So right now, just in my stage of life, I'm just trying to fit in work as I can, and that's kind of what my preference is. All right, so earlier I made my to-do list for my personal stuff, and then this is for a YouTube project I'm working on. And so now I'm gonna make a to-do list for just some work stuff that I need to get done. It's mostly for client work, so I thought you guys would enjoy taking a look at this. All right, so this is the work I'm trying to get done before picking up my kids in about 2 hours. So the first 3 things are for a certain client, so I need to input all their checks and then match them to what fed in from the bank. And I'll show you kind of the process for that. These are paper check stubs that I get from my client. And so they're upside down, obviously, because I don't want to show you what it is. But this was a paper check that was attached to it. And then this is the check stub where they write it down. Before I connect it to bank feeds, I want to input all my checks first because that makes the process like a lot easier. And this paper, I've told you guys before, I try not to deal with much paper, but this is what I get once a month. There's 3 checks per page, and maybe there's 20 of these. So like 60 checks a month. So I do get these once a month. I usually go into the office and pick them up, or they'll drop them off for me. And then, so I can input these checks. You put in the check first in QuickBooks, and then the bank feeds it in, and then the two match. So that's just a really good check to make sure that what you've written is correct and that type of thing. All right, and then the second thing I have to do is I have to input the income per person. So the same client has this book that they've given me. So they get income from clients, but each of the employees, they want to track how much each employee is making per client. So they use this paper ledger to record like each person's name. This person made $300 and it goes to this client. So then on the profit and loss statement, it's going to look something like this. It's going to have the income, and then it'll have each person and how much they made, and then the total income for the company, and then expenses are down below. But that just helps the owner give visibility to kind of who is making what within the firm. So after all the income feeds in from the bank, I just go through this and match it up with the deposits to make sure that all the income is accounted for. So once I do those two things, then I just reconcile the bank, get the statement from the bank website, and then I'll send reports to the owner. So send a profit and loss. For this particular one, usually I do the last 3 months so they can compare month to month and see how they're doing. All right, so that's all for one client. And then I also have to send an invoice to one of my clients. That's something that is kind of hard to keep up on sometimes because, you know, I just get wrapped up in doing client work, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, I actually have to get paid. So that's definitely important. And then I have to text Serena, who's another bookkeeper who's in my local area. And she actually found me on YouTube. She might be watching this. Hi, Serena, if you're watching. But we just like to get together every so often just to kind of like network and support each other. She's a little bit newer too, so sometimes she has questions, but I just really like, if possible, if there's certain people you connect with and can just get together in person when you're working from home, then that is really helpful. And then another client needs to send me a spreadsheet. I had some questions for her, and so I'm waiting for her to get back to me on that. So I may just send her a quick reminder to see if that is ready. Then send an invite. Oh yeah, so it's getting close to tax season, so all of my clients, I have been communicating with their accountants to make sure that they have everything they need. So with QuickBooks Online, Lori is an accountant for one of my clients. This was the first time that Lori had used QuickBooks Online, so I just added her in my QuickBooks account. Maybe I can put a screenshot here to show you guys how to do that as well. But I just added her, and then she is able to go in and pull any reports that she needs to do to prepare the client's taxes. And then update my business license. So with a new year, I just need to make sure that I am current with my local business license, and then set up a meeting. I also need to meet with one of my clients. I told her I'd just give her a little of a tutorial in QuickBooks because she's doing a lot of it on her own, and she's wanting to learn how to put her receipts in there. So I'm probably gonna meet with her in person because she's actually someone I know in real life. So I will meet with her probably on an evening because we both have kids, so it's easy for us to just get together in the evening. This is pretty typical for my day, some client work and then some odds and ends, getting back to people and doing stuff for my own business.